Thank you very much, gentlemen. Of course, pleased to be joined by Memento.
Hello.
Not quite the result I'm sure you were hoping for, but I want to ask you, we heard you say in a brief video, Jankos is your kryptonite, and I want to know, after playing against him today, how do you feel about that?
He's definitely really good. Like maybe first game, I did some pretty good counter ganks, and he tried to overforce on mid lane, which actually he got punished for in the end. But I didn't really punish him as hard as I actually could have. And second game, he has basically out-jungled me pretty hard.
It's pretty rough. Can you run us through the thought process on the Camille pick? You guys are one of the first teams to pick her up in the jungle. Did you feel like this is a strong pick we'll see in the future, or is this kind of a sort of a one-time try, something new?
I mean, Camille is really fun, so I mean, I love to play her. But she has some weaknesses, like she doesn't really clear the jungle that well, and she can easily fall behind. So you might see her in the future, but I think it's better on top lane probably.
What do you think were like really your goals with that composition? Do you feel like it could have gone much better if something had gone differently in that game?
I mean, if we didn't fall too behind, I think we actually would have won, because we had a really strong team comp for the late game, but we ended up like trading a bit bad, and we lost like 3 kills for 1 and 3 for 2, and we felt like we've kept falling behind all the time, and kind of made it really hard, the game. And Graves got really fed, so he basically just one-shot everyone.
Yeah, definitely absolutely brutal to play against the Fed Graves, the lethality. Looking forward for Giants, it hasn't been great so far, but there have been some good moments. I'm curious what's next for you guys, and what are the goals in the coming weeks?
I mean, it's really sad to lose, because it feels pretty shitty it feels terrible, because just coming there to LCS and like play on stage and just like losing in front of everyone, it just feels, it's heartbreaking for me at least, because it's just, I can't describe it. I'm just really sad. But coming into the future, we just have to work harder. Like, we're not good enough, and that's the reality. We have to put more hours into League, and we have to just like watch more VODs and practice a lot harder. Like, there's no excuse. We just have to work harder. That's all.
I mean, I feel like a really hard thing for a lot of people to accept, so it's good to hear that you guys kind of acknowledge that and are willing and ready to move forward. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me on this one and coming in after that loss. I hope we can see more from you guys in the future. Hope you can get those wins under your belt. But that is enough from me. That is enough from us. Let's close out the day. Let's send it over to the post-game lobby. Shocks, take it away.
Welcome everybody to the post-game lobby. Thank you so much, Drakos. I'm still here with the Physio and Zven to take a look back at tonight's game's very introspective interview there with Memento. He simply says, you know what, there's no excuses. You got to train harder, you got to do more. But he did also make the point that question marks around the composition, but the problem is if you start by falling behind early, then that's a bigger problem and a bigger hill to climb. And it was kind of an unlucky. Was it unlucky or was it bad play, that top lane dive in the beginning of the game?
I mean, I think, so they got outplayed there, but I don't want to blame like Knight for actually going in on Azir and trying to get the kill. He was 1 hit off and then he got exhausted and he dies, but the fact he was late to the roam obviously meant he should have just backed away. So it was bad, but also kind of understandable.
Yeah, we are going to take a look at it again.
Great, let's talk about it. It's exactly the same thing. Sven, repeat what I just said.
I mean, it was bad at first, but it got even worse when Knight decided to come top and give up 1 more kill than he had to, right? Like the first thing went fine for here. Like I think, go away, man. So I think same as game 1, Memento does a good counter gank on Jankos. Same as game 1, he gets a kill on Jankos. But Fabian moves first from mid lane, which I don't know why happens, because Asi was picked after Ryze, so he should have the winning lane phase. But this is overall a 2 for 1 after Fabian flashes over here and kills Maokai. But then Knight decides to go in, doesn't quite kill Odoamne, and then it goes bad. But just the 2 kills wouldn't be the biggest problem in my opinion.
But exhaust, 1 hit.
Yeah, but then here he can back off, but he takes a tower hit and...
Did he cancel an auto or did he walk out of range?
I think he was out of range, but he takes a tower hit for no reason and he has a big mini wave, so he could survive that. He didn't have to die there. And even though they got all these kills, I think H2K actually didn't play that well with his advantage. Odoamne kind of trolled his advantage away. He was 2-0 with double buffs and he died 1v1, trying to do dive alone.
We got that replay?
Yeah,
too?
we have that replay too. Same
That's
question,
right.
Unlucky or misplay?
Misplay.
I mean, misplay or miscommunication, because Jankos is technically moving topside here, but the wave is already dead when Odo dives flashes here, and Jankos is turning around.
Turns around.
Odo is just like, where's Jankos? And then he just dies, and he was 2-0 up here, and had double buffs earlier. And then he uses the flash earlier, gets reganked, and dies again. Kind of like a bad way of throwing away your advantage that you got so early in the game, and kind of like a bit inexcusable, I would say.
Yeah,
like
that was-
dying like this twice is bad.
That was bad, obviously, and it was kind of weird because this is exactly what Giants did in game 1. They got the advantage, they got fed Graves, it was like, great, they're winning the game, and then they lost a few fights like around the bottom side of the map, and they kind of like evened out. This game was exactly the same. G2 got the advantage. Oh, sorry, H2K got the advantage. G2 also got some
Oh my
advantages
God, you
somewhere.
love G2 so much you can't stop talking about them.
Yeah. Whatever. H2K got the advantage. Then Odamne makes some of these misplays here, and it actually made the game even again until the crucial point.
Until the crucial point that we're going to take a look at after, as we take a look at some fan meets as well. Always lovely to see. There we go. H2K is where you said now it's really over.
Honestly, I think Giants is a bit lost in what to do. They don't know. Here they have a mid ARAM.
They run in mid.
Yeah, they run down mid, and silence are bad for them. And Memento uses flash late, gets killed. Giants is diving mid tower when Rice and Jankos is behind them, and Poppy is behind them, and this is never gonna go well for them. Best case scenario, they get like 1 kill here, maybe 1 kill here, and they kill Che. Good for them, right? But they get 3 for 0 here, and HK gets Baron, and HK did a really good well Baron. Like normally with Baron, you get like let's say three tier 2 towers, and then you kind of wait for next Baron, and then you end. But HK got 5 towers this game, and then they were able to go bot right after that, and they killed someone, and the game was over. Died everyone and killed, like opened the base basically.
So, gentlemen, Misfits dismantled Vitality on a macro level. You guys outplayed Unicorns of Love on a macro level. H2K is supposed to be our macro level team, objectives-focused team. So is it disappointing to you guys that they give leads away, even though it doesn't lose them the game?
I think in game 1, it was just the early ganks that kind of made them fall behind, and then they actually just evened it out and got back, so that was fine. I think in this game, obviously Odamne made some mistakes up top lane, and that shouldn't have happened, but every single team fight in this game was heavily in favor of H2K. So I don't really feel like they were in any problems. They were even 2K ahead when the game was finally over, technically.
Fair enough.
I think one thing that shows is that in the first game, Giants had a 1,000 goal lead on Graves after the first 2 ganks, and they were unable to use this advantage. Even after they dive bot lane, they were not able to use this advantage to do anything in the game. They got out macro, they got lane swap on, they got not ahead any more than they were, and it just shows that HK is a better team. And Giants doesn't really know what to do with their leads, whether it's individual leads or if it's like tower leads, and it just showed that HK is a better team today, and yeah, that's what it is.
All right, so not too disappointed, Dad, Deficio.
No, not today.
Not today.
Not today, because my favorite son is here as well. I can't
How
be
did you like our
disappointed.
match against you all?
I like game 1 a lot.
Yeah, that was nice.
Love game 1.
How about our clean game 2?
The clean game 2 was, I actually thought Unicorns had everything under control until like 25 minutes when they started like getting caught left and right, and you guys got back in the game. Then you guys rushed Baron, you took a Baron. It was like, hang on, what's happening here? And then you guys lost late game fights, and it became like a massive mess. I thought it was going to be.
Calculated.
It should have been
a
3
massive
games.
bait.
Massive bait.
No, it should have been 3 games. Come on, if Rice ulti had been slightly closer to the Nexus, he would have been able to auto attack in Nexus and kill it. Or I think it was Hilly who didn't flash or something.
Let him talk, man.
He would also.
I agree with that statement, but I think that the way they ended the game, like the backdoor Tamken's Rice ulti teleport thingy, was the only way they could actually lose the game. I think if they didn't go for the montage, like Loy Sports montage ending, they could just have like Gnar split push the game, like split push slowly into the base, and then just walked it in, but without fighting us like this. But they went for the YOLO end backdoor thingy, and it failed. And it's like, oh, nice, we have a chance of winning now, and we just run down mid. And
2-0.
I think they could have won that game without risking that kind of ending.
But could they have won game 3?
No.
No. According
G2
to
has a tendency
will
to
never know.
lose game 2 in best of series, actually. Like, where
Why?
we very rarely lose first game, but we often win the first game. Even in playoffs last year, we lost second game to UL, second to Splice. It's just like a G2 curse.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
That is the G2 curse.
That's right.
Nothing else.
Nothing has ever happened at any other tournament.
Nothing to see here.
I'm not sure what you're talking about here.
No, me neither. Player of the series, Febiven. Jankos did great. Nuclear did great. Febiven did great.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
leaving like 2 people out, sorry.
I think his game 2 was better than his game 1.
Yeah, I agree.
100%. The LeBlanc didn't work too well. Well, it was okay, but it didn't work that well. The build was a little bit off, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think LeBlanc is not good if you have to rush Apple's Scepter first item just to lane against Ryze. Also, he after he got first gank off, he used the flash of Ryze, and then he got forced flash 1v1, and then the entire the double kill disaster happened. So
I think he's seeing himself on the replay monitors that is above. Pretty funny. Fabian Diepstraat meeting defense.
No, game 2 that was good.
Yeah,
game 2 was really good. I love watching good Ryze players getting like an advantage on the map because you can just make so many plays. I think it's super awesome. I think overall, like Febby, to me, if I had to pick like the best performing overall mid laner, like, I think Perkz is getting up there now, especially with his performance in game 1 yesterday. But I think Fevin, like overall, has just been like the most consistent mid laner we've had in Europe, or we have in Europe right now.
I think that is a very good point. I would bring up Power of Evil as well, and he's who we saw in the first series of the day. Misfits, a clean 2-0 over Vitality. He had some really good moves. He even pulled out new champions, which is something that we have wanted him to do for a very, very long time. And it was so clean.
Yeah, it was actually some of the most one-sided games I've casted.
Ever seen, yeah.
Like, I think at 20 minutes in both games, it was like 12, 13K goal leads for Misfits, and like composition-wise, I never felt like Vitality's comps could almost do anything in these games here. So it was just like, it was so one-sided from draft into mid-game into late game in favor of Misfits. They just completely stomped them.
Is Misfits a scary team to you?
Well, I think Power actually improved a lot as a player. Like, he used to be that kind of guy who was kind of stuck in his own meta, always playing Orianna or Syndra when they were in a meta. But now he's playing the Corki, he's playing the Ryze. Champions that he didn't previously play or like to play, or perform well on, for that matter. But now he's playing them, and I think he's doing really well for himself in the mid lane. His build paths are sometimes different than most people build them, but I think he is a good player for his team. Like, he builds differently, plays differently for his team, and yeah, he makes it work for his team. I think he's really important, like, for his team. I think him and Kakao are the most important people on Misfits right now. Like, most games are working from mid jungle to top or to bot lane, depending on what kind of draft they have. So yeah, I think Power Evil is really improved player this split.
So are you scared of the Misfits?
No.
Okay, got
it. 7-0, man.
Great expose about Power of Evil. And Kakao was player of the series today as well.
Yes.
Absolutely crushing it and so enabling for the Misfits. And I even think if we take a look at the standings, we only have 1 day left, so we can take a look at the standings right now in week 5. Misfits are still in second place in Group A because you guys are number 1, of course. And then we have H2K and UOL in Group B. But Misfits' development has just been so incredibly impressive. They seem to do everything right.
Yeah, and I just want to see them play H2K Unicorns right now because I actually think, if I had to say who would win between Misfits and H2K, I think with the way Misfits are playing and have been playing lately, I would put actually, I put my vote on them for now.
Oh, to win? Yeah.
On Misfits. I think Kakao's playing super good. I think there's going to be no like mismatches in terms of lanes across the board at all. And I think Misfits' late game are looking much better, especially around Baron setups. So I actually think Misfits, like, it's going to be close, obviously, but I think Misfits is looking like, do I dare say the second best team in Europe, or should I just put them? I'm going to put them in the same tier as H2K Unicorns. Like, they're all three the same.
But you still see them winning versus them in the near future. What do you think?
I can see that, yeah.
I think the top 4 is, as I said earlier, pretty clear. That G2, H2K, UL, and Misfits are the top 4, and then there's like a second tier of Fnatic and Splice, and then the rest. But I think once we see Misfits play against UL and H2K, we can judge who is the better team. But guys, Misfits only played against us of the top tier teams, right? So it's hard to judge when you lose the top tier team and you win against all the bottom tier teams, right? So yeah.
But then you see like H2K versus Giants today, and it was even for a lot of it. Giants had some good moments here and there, and it came down to like late game fights. And then you watch Misfits against these bottom teams, and it's just like super clean. Most of them, they get like big advantage early. They never really had any threat of losing the game, and then they close it out pretty cleanly. Could have been slightly faster in the first game, but again, that's nitpicking. So I think that they're doing a good job of showing they are a strong team against the bottom teams. But again, we keep seeing this problem where bottom 4 is just so much weaker than like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Vitality is kind of a train wreck right now. They have a new support every week, whether it's Autofill, Nuke Duck, or it's AOD coming in from...
next week.
Yeah, and then they're just like a weird team. They have a new support every week for like the last 2 weeks. Hachani was always inting it, so Nuke Duck support, then AOD. They have weird drafts every game. They don't really have like a clear identity or game style. So being clean against Vitality isn't necessarily a good measurement of how good you are as a team, right?
They had Splice 2-0 as well the week before.
That is true. That is a good measurement. Splice is kind of, I'm not sure what's happening to them right now. They're having a slow start, but they also show hopes some here and there, and they're a middle tier team, I would say.
Yeah.
Giants and Vitality are both on the low end, but Giants at least show some hope once in a while. But
So is there really a 3-tier system here, or are we talking 2 tiers,
I
or
think
maybe 3 with you
4.
guys on top?
I'd say 4 tiers.
Yeah.
There's the G2, and then there's the next tier is the Unicorns, H2K, Misfits.
yeah,
And then it's Fnatic and Splice, and then it's the bottom 4. Like, you could maybe even argue that Origin and Rocket are even further down.
You could argue a 5th tier where you say Rocket and then OG maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, 5th tier, so you mean like 1, 2, 3, 4,
relegation
5,
tier.
like in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
standings.
like a tier basically under Vitality.
But there are already 5, so
Actually,
it's not
Vitality should be
really-
down that tier as well.
Yeah,
right now.
but Vitality kind of gotten the way down, like worked their way down to that
Yeah.
tier as well. So, yeah.
The bottom one is, it's tough for these teams, man.
It is
I don't know
super
how they're
tough.
going to win. I actually don't know.
We don't know. We know that the top teams, what they are fighting for, and that's for the Spring Split Finals, are going to Hamburg, and that is on the horizon. It's not that far away. Tickets will also go on sale on March 1st, and for more information, head over to eu.lolesports.com. Are you planning to win in Hamburg?
He's gonna buy tickets.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not planning it, but I would definitely like to win in Hamburg. Yeah.
Against who? Yeah, who would you like to beat on the big stage?
Oh, pick any team.
I mean, it's a tough question, I think.
Okay.
Does it matter?
No.
You just beat anyone?
Yeah, like, it doesn't really matter who we play against, but I just want to get right now I want to get first place in our group so we can get the first playoff seed, which is really good for you in playoffs. So, and then whoever is our opponents in playoffs is our opponents, and that's who we have to beat.
And in the meantime,
It doesn't really matter who you beat as long as you beat them.
but in the meantime, you can win IEM Katowice, right? Because that's
right.
what's going on next week. We're going to take a look at the groups. Once again, as we did yesterday, we have 3 European representatives at the Intel Extreme Masters, and we're going to take a look at the groups in 1 second. But first, general expectations. You know that the weight of Europe is again on your shoulders, and we know the whole story,
Thanks
the
for
vacation
reminding me.
memes, all that. But how realistic is the chance that G2 goes home with the trophy there?
I don't want to say something stupid, but it's nice that there's no KT, SK Telecom. Nice that Rocks Tigers doesn't have the same lineup as they had before. They're all obviously a bit weaker teams there than there could have been. Like there's no SKT, as I said earlier, there's no Rocks Tigers. EG is arguably a bit weaker than they were before, maybe.
A lot weaker.
Yeah.
So you beat the Unicorns yesterday, then we have Kongdu and the Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
So.
It's nice that there's Kongdu Monsters and Rocks Tigers with a different roster than before compared to what it could have been, right? So it's looking good for the West, EU, I should say. There's no NA teams anymore.
Do you agree that if we don't get at least 2 European teams in the semifinal, it would be a huge disappointment? With like
I
the
don't
teams
want to say
there?
anything stupid, as I said earlier, so I'm just
So
not going to
is
say
this like
anything.
is this like a team briefing thing? Because we heard it from Ocelot yesterday as well. He's like, I don't want to say anything stupid. So last year we said big things and we expected big things and we didn't. So I feel like there's kind of a team strategy thing going on here. Which is
I would
good.
agree that last year G2 had some moronic statements. Like Joey said that if they were at IM Katowice, they would won the entire thing when SKT was there. Like, come on, right? But I think we're trying to kind of like go down a bit of mentality, like from the bad boy image and all this kind of stuff, and be not necessarily humble, but always have more respect for everyone. Not try to be like having expectation for yourself is gonna make you let down when you don't win. So yeah, maybe.
I mean,
yeah.
respect, obviously, with the change, but I think, like I can say then, if you look at G2 Esports, the best team in Europe, playing really well at the moment, going into IEM, a tournament where it's kind of lacking the greatest teams from the major regions, except for Flash was coming in from LMS.
And
then
G2
obviously G2 now from Europe. So, like, you
We'll
are,
put the pressure
you
on
are
your
allowed
shoulders.
to expect a lot from G2 at this tournament. I
Thanks,
think you're
Lucy.
allowed to do that.
Thanks for the pressure.
I'm just saying, like, I'm expecting them at least to make it to top 4, and I actually think they're
Make
gonna,
sure.
Ooh, the gauntlet is strong.
I'm gonna say they're gonna make it all the way to the final.
But are they going to win?
Well, that's the one.
Would
that's
you mind?
tricky.
Would you be fine with either team winning? A European team, that is.
Any European team can win.
There's 3 of them there.
I want
Have
a
you
full
know
European
that-
final.
I know that Katowice is technically in Europe, and G2 has not lost a series in Europe for 1 year. So there is that going for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
the key thing.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to go on a bus ride with all the other teams.
Yeah,
with
that's really great.
H2K and the Unicorns of Love, a bus with Wi-Fi. We heard it's 6-7 hours.
Yeah,
6
that's so
hours.
nice. I can't wait.
You're really tall, so it might be annoying.
Perfect
for
for
you.
you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Because everybody has tons of leg room.
You need like
obviously.
4
That's
seats
great.
to lay down.
Good stuff.
Oh. Do you think it's going to influence your performance after? Because we've seen, like, you know, Misfits there will go up and against Unicorns of Love and H2K after, so you kind of will be showing a lot of things already? Or do you think if you're at a certain level, it doesn't matter what you show and what you don't show because you outplay teams either way?
I mean, it might matter a little bit that you show what you play and stuff, but then again, this week we had a totally different idea of draft than everyone else did on both sides. Only played 2 games on blue side, but we had different ideas than other people do, so I think it doesn't matter too much. But the most important thing is the experience we get from playing this tournament. Scrimming other teams than European teams. We get to play on stage more than other people do, and against international teams, which is nice. So I think it doesn't matter too much. Honestly, playoffs will be on a different patch most likely anyways, so yeah.
I do want to ask though, because a lot of focus is always on like boot camping before Worlds. That's where teams improve a lot. Now that Katowice is only just 1 week, you probably don't have that much time to like scrim all the teams.
Yeah.
Do you still gain a lot from just playing on stage against, like, let's say, a Korean team? Or is it mainly from scrims and boot camping you get the most?
I mean, you probably get the most from scrims and boot camps in terms of improving. Like, 1 game on stage doesn't matter all too much, but just like that 1 game might help you in the future. But definitely boot camps is more important. It's like 3 weeks of boot camping is more important than 1 game on stage, right?
Yes.
Or like in terms of improvement, the game is more important on stage, of course. But yeah, I think boot camping is what helps people the most to improve. Like, if you like, the rate of improvement is really fast in a boot camp. When you play against teams with different ideas of the game, it's really refreshing to play against people with different ideas of how the game is supposed to be played. Where you play in Korea and boot camp against like different teams from different regions, they have like different priorities, different styles of play, and you can see what is better and what works, and you learn faster.
Yeah, so seeing as it's only a 1 week tournament, we shouldn't expect you two Unicorns and H2K to come back to Europe and just be like twice as strong or something.
No.
Because obviously there's been no Worlds boot camp here.
No.
It's just go in, show what you got now, and then see if it's enough.
Well, I'm definitely very excited to see that, Katowice. But before we head there and before 3 of our teams head up to Poland, we'll round out week 5 of EULCS tomorrow afternoon with Splice versus Roccat, followed by Origin taking on Fnatic. And then this is your 2nd tier or 3rd in your previous taking on the lower tier teams. And you should expect Splice and Fnatic to close this out. But, I mean...
There's been issues for both Fnatic and Splice, for sure. But like when you look at this schedule, you're like, the 3rd tier teams, which is Splice, Fnatic, should be able to take out the 5th tier teams pretty easily. Like we look at 2 zeros like today, but again, I don't know if there's any room for upset because we haven't had any so far.
No upset so far. Do you call one?
I think the upset thing is really hard to get when you have best of 3s, honestly. Like, if you lose 2 games in a row to a team that's 9th and 10th placed, then you just have to lose. That's just it. I think Splice and Fnatic both should have it in them to 2-0 this one. And if they lose 1 game, it should be good enough to not lose 2 games in a row, right? And actually come back.
Is playoffs almost already locked now? Where top 3 in each group seems to be just going straight to playoffs, and there seems to be very little room for changes.
It's not locked as in it's already done, but I think that G2 Misfits Fnatic and UL, H2K, and Splice will be the playoff teams. But like I think teams like Vitality, Giants, Roccat, and OG is a pretty huge change or like uphill battle to get into playoffs. Like they have to win a lot of matches against teams that are better than them. So I won't say it's locked because it's not locked already, but it's kind of locked. You know what I mean? It's kind of impossible for them to make it at this point, given the situation they're in.
Crazy surprise.
I think all 4 bottom tier teams have almost 0 wins, like 1 win on Giants maybe against Roccat. So
yeah, it would be a monumental upset if that happens. So it is also you wonder what, like, for the teams in the bottom of the table, then they have to like recalibrate. And as Memento says, you have to practice more and maybe look ahead, making definitely sure that you don't drop out.
And that's always the problem. When you have to then start beating teams better than you, you need to practice twice the amount, but you can't. There's no time to do that. Every team is already practicing so many hours in scrims and VODs. So, like, you just run out of time, and it's not like every other team is going to start slacking, so you can catch up.
What a reality check here. Says here's note.
Well,
Just
the first step on improving is knowing that you're actually not the best or that you have things to improve on. So there's that going for him. All
right, well, we'll see what happens. You guys are feeling pretty good after these 2 days. And good luck in Katowice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Time for us to log off. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European Time for the conclusion of Week 5 of the European LCS. Au revoir.
Farvel.